Hello, I'm Dexter Vorzet, Dean of the Factor-Inwentash Faculty of Social Work at the University of Toronto. I'm delighted that you're interested in learning more about our program. We are Canada's oldest faculty of social work, ranked #1 nationally and #2 globally. However, these rankings represent more than just numbers. They represent our deep commitment and effectiveness towards social change. Come learn more about our programs, and I look forward to welcome you personally to the Factor-Inwentash Faculty of Social Work.
Hello everyone and welcome to our MSW Studies Information session at the Factor-Inwentash Faculty of Social Work at the University of Toronto. I'm Valerie Groisman, Coordinator of Student Programs and Outreach.
Hello everyone, I'm Angela Umbrello, the Administrative Coordinator, Admissions and Programs. Thank you for joining us today.
What is social work? So you're all here to learn about what social work is. Social work is a profession concerned with helping individuals, families, groups, and communities to enhance their individual and collective well-being. This is a definition from the Canadian Association of Social Workers. Social workers work in a variety of organizations, varying from healthcare to children's aid to not-for-profit organizations and government, in policy and research. Social workers also work across the lifespan, both with young children, adults, as well as the aging population. These are some photos of our campus. It's very beautiful and we have a large library system. Our faculty is distinguished by the volume and production of research. So there's always new knowledge created at our faculty. Our MSWs graduate with Foundations of General Social Work Knowledge, Values, and Skills applicable to various fields and methods of practice. Ethical, effective, and innovative social work practice, knowledge and skills for a diverse society, the ability to practice competently and inform their practice through theory and research. There is a strong emphasis about intentionally translating theory and research into practice. So how do we use theory and research so that it is helpful to us and informs our practice in an intentional way? The graduates also graduate with the knowledge and understanding to prepare for professional practice. One of my favorite things about this program is that you really get to make it your own by focusing on those skills and competencies that you would like to develop while you're studying at our program. Program options are 2-year MSW full-time program. This option is for applicants applying with undergraduate degrees that are not in social work. We also have an advanced standing option in which students enter at the 2nd year of the program and they receive advanced standing. This is for applicants with bachelor's in social work degrees. We also have a 2-year MSW in Indigenous Trauma and Resiliency. It is a full-time 2-year program for all applicants, including those holding bachelor's of social work degrees. In the first year of the 2-year program, students complete these courses. So for example, in the fall, there is a social policy and social welfare in the Canadian context, elements of social work practice and social work practice lab, foundations of social work, and social work practice with groups. The 2-year program is designed for applicants who do not have bachelor's in social work, and therefore the first year is dedicated to bringing everyone up to speed with the foundations of social work. So the courses apply to all the different fields of social work and areas of competencies and practice. In the winter, there are social work practice with organizations and communities, individuals and families, a research methods course in the first year, and practicum. There are 5 fields of study. Students in the 2-year program select their field of study in the second half of their first year, whereas advanced standing students select their field of study during their application process. Fields of study do not have quotas on them and are accommodated based on student selection. Therefore, we encourage prospective applicants and students to select the field of study which will help them develop the skills, knowledge, and competencies that they're most interested in developing as they prepare for becoming social workers when they complete the program. The fields of study include children and their family, gerontology, human services management and leadership. Human services management and leadership field of study requires at least 2 years of work experience working in the social services sector field, as well as mental health and health, which could be completed with a focus on mental health or a focus on health, and social justice and diversity. These are some examples of courses taken in children and their families. As you can see, they're very similar courses in terms of there is a course specific to the field of study, there is a policy course, and there is a research methods course, electives, and a practicum. Gerontology is the study of supporting the aging population and their families. Human services management and leadership is focused on preparing for becoming managers and leaders in social service organizations. And mental health and health focuses on health and mental health, whether that's in a healthcare system or in mental health in community or in hospitals. So for example, if a student focuses on health, they would be taking social work practice in health and advanced social work practice in health. If a student focused on mental health, they would be taking social work practice in mental health and advanced social work practice in mental health. If a student wanted to complete mental health and health, they would take social work practice in health and social work practice in mental health. The other courses are the same in health and mental health. So again, a policy course, research methods course, electives, and practicum. The practicum is tied to the field of study, and the way it's selected is students review job-like description. They select 5 practicums that they're interested in that are tied to their field of study. The algorithm matches them with 2, and hopefully they're offered 2 interviews which they complete and then offered one of the positions. We have a very supportive practicum office, and if a match is not made, the practicum office works with the student to make sure that they access a practicum that matches their learning goals. Social justice and diversity focuses on understanding, on serving our increasingly diverse society and understanding the intersections of our identities and how they impact our experiences in the world. Some of the courses include globalization and transnationalization, the intersections of policy and community practice locally and globally. So as you can see, there's also a policy course, approaches to defining social injustice and engaging in social change, diversity, access, and equity in social work practice, a research course, as well as the research for evidence-based practice course, 2 electives, and a practicum, again, that's tied to the field of study. All of the fields of study enable you to develop skills both for direct practice and for policy and research. If you're somebody who's more interested in developing skills in policy and research, you may select your electives and your practicum to be more focused on policy and research. If you're interested more in developing skills for direct practice or counseling or psychotherapy, you may be selecting courses that are geared towards more direct practice. So there's really lots of options to make the program your own and to develop those competencies that you're interested in learning and developing. The MSW in Indigenous Trauma and Resiliency is the 2-year program. It is a hybrid model, and it includes 6 in-person intensive courses that are completed at the faculty. They're 1 weeks in which students travel to the faculty to complete them in person. It also includes online courses as well as practicum in the student's home community. So it's a combination of in-person and remote learning. Some of the courses include understanding historical and multi-generational trauma, social work ethics in Indigenous community, trauma and human development, trauma and addiction. In the MSW, Indigenous Trauma and Resiliency, indigeneity is viewed on a global perspective. So it's while Canadian Indigenous concepts and values are felt throughout and included throughout the program, students are also encouraged to explore what it means to be Indigenous to their own heritage as well as within a Canadian context. In the second year of the in the first year summer of the MSW Indigenous Trauma and Resiliency, students complete research for evidence-based social work practice, Indigenous Trauma and Resiliency practicum, which typically happens in the student's home community, and sexual abuse and sexual assault on the family. In the second year, these are some of the courses that would be completed as part of the MSW-ITR. All of our programs have the option of collaborative specialization and combined programs. What collaborative specializations are, they're an extra way to get an extra certificate or a focus in an area of interest to you. So for example, if you're interested in addiction studies, you can use your electives to pick up the courses towards a collaborative specialization in addiction studies. This gives you an extra notation on your transcript when you graduate. As you can see, there's lots of different topics that collaborative specializations are available in. If this is something that you're interested in, it is important to check all the details on our website. These collaborative specializations are delivered in partnerships with other units at the university. Some of them are a seamless process where you simply indicate your interest and you're enrolled in the collaborative specialization, whereas others require more than 2 courses, for example, or an additional application process to the partner unit. So if you're interested in one of these, please go on our website and check out the details to make sure that you apply and are able to enroll in the collaborative specialization of your choice. It is not a requirement. It is just an extra way to get additional information or competencies in an area of interest to you. You may also choose to use your electives towards other courses that are offered at the faculty. There is lots of different options, and you can get familiar with what's been offered last year. Again, on our website, there is schedules from previous years to see what kind of courses have been offered. So for example, there's been courses in couples therapy, trauma, cognitive behavioral therapy, narrative therapy, and other specialized topics that might be of interest that are not part of the collaborative specialization. We also have an option to do a combined degree. These are 2 degrees, JD and MSW. So JD is a law degree, and what students can do is apply both to MSW and law school. And if you're offered admissions to both, you can save 1 year of time studying. We have lots of support services available to help you succeed in your program, including the registrar and administrative team. We have an on-site writing center to help with writing, on-site international student coordinator to support international students, several equity offices that provide education support and resources, such as the accessibility services, First Nations House, Multi-Faith Center, Family Care Office, and International Student Center. We also have Career Center, Counseling and Learning Skills Services, Health Services, and Student Housing Services. So lots of support. There are 3 deadline dates for the 2-year MSW and the MSW with advanced standing. November 2nd is our suggested early submission of online application fee and electronic transcripts. We suggest this early deadline to help ensure that your references have plenty of time to get back to us with their references. So as soon as you sign up and complete your initial registration, the reference forms are automatically emailed to your referees, and you have plenty of time until December 10th for them to submit them. There is also a November 30th deadline. This is the final date to submit your online application fee and electronic transcripts for September 2021 admission. After this date, you are unable to apply for this 2021 year. Admission requirements. I'll hand it over to Angela to share admission requirements.
Thank you, Valerie. Okay, so the admission requirements for the 2-year MSW full-time program. We require that you have an appropriate bachelor's degree from a recognized university, and this typically would be a 4-year Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Commerce degree. If you have a degree in fine arts, you might want to reach out to us offline, and we can have a conversation about eligibility. You need to have a mid-B average in your final year of full-time study or equivalent, specifically looking at senior level courses, so 3rd or 4th year, and a full course load is anywhere from 4 to 5 full credit courses or equivalent. If the university you've attended does not require a certain number of senior level courses, then the GPA would be a combination of senior level courses and courses completed in your final year of full-time study or equivalent. We require 3 full credit courses in the social sciences to include a half credit course in research methodology. For the social sciences, they can be at any level, and any discipline deemed a social science at the university you have attended would be considered a social science. Typically, the social sciences, the ones that are sort of more common would be anthropology, economics, political science, psychology, sociology, social work. There are many other disciplines. Sometimes there's some disciplines have a crossover, and it's all tied to the designation in the arts and science calendar of your home undergraduate university. Again, if your home university deems it a social science, we would allow it. If in doubt, you can always reach out to us. We require a half credit course in research methodology, and this is a key requirement. As you heard from the presentation, if admitted, you will all be doing 2 courses in research, the 4510, which everybody takes, it's the evidence-based social work practice course, and then the research course tied to your field of study. So our committee does look very carefully to see how well you've done in the research course, and if you have a grade less than a mid-B, which translates to a B or 73%, we would strongly encourage you to think about taking another course to upgrade your research mark. Experience in the social services is not a requirement, but strongly recommended. And the English language proficiency, this applies to individuals educated outside of Canada and the USA, where the language of instruction and examination was not English. So if this applies to you, you would need to do one of the recognized test scores that are posted on our website. Valerie, next slide. Valerie, thank you. Okay, the admission requirements for the MSW program with advanced standing. Here you need to have a BSW degree from a recognized university. So if it's from within Canada, it needs to be recognized by the Canadian Association of Social Work Education. And if it's from the United States, it must be recognized by the Council on Social Work Education. If your BSW is from a university overseas, you would need to formally apply, and we would do a full review of your transcripts to ensure that you have sufficient social work courses and at least 700 practicum hours. It's not necessarily a given that we would recognize it as a BSW, but we would have to do a full review. A mid-B average is required in your final year of full-time study or equivalent. So this is a little different than the 2-year. So in the 2-year, we're looking at senior level courses. Here, we're looking at your final year of full-time study or equivalent. Again, full-time study would be 4 to 5 full credit courses. Again, a mid-B is at least a B or 73% or better. Again, we require a half credit course in research methodology, just like the 2-year. Experience in the social services is strongly recommended. English language proficiency, same thing applies as the 2-year. Here you do need to, at time of application, you do need to choose the field of study on your online application. Again, one of the 5 that Valerie mentioned. And if you're selecting children and their families, for example, then you need to ensure that on the MSW program application form, which is a document you submit by the later deadline date, you want to ensure that you're making the same selection on this form. And you have the opportunity to indicate a preference for full-time or part-time studies on the MSW program application form. How to apply. Our online application is open, and the system is posted here, apply.sgs.utoronto.ca. The nice thing about this system is it's an online system, and it allows you to start your application and save it into as a draft until you're ready to finalize. And when you finalize it, you make payment. So when you go onto the system, it will ask you to provide your biographical and education information. So you'll need to put down all of your academic history, all colleges and universities attended, including CEGEP for those of you educated in the Quebec system. You'll need to submit contact information for 3 references. We'll talk about the referees in a couple of minutes, but the contact information you're going to be asked to provide would be the first and last name of your referee, the organization they are affiliated with, their phone number, relationship to applicant, and if they have a valid email address, you would input it into the system. Once you do, you triple check your application then you make payment. And as soon as you make payment, the system will automatically email your referees that you inputted with a valid email address the reference template, asking them to provide the faculty with a reference on your behalf, and the reference will be due on December the 10th. If your referees do not have a valid email address, you are responsible to send your referees the reference template, which is available on our website. They will complete the reference form, and they would mail it in directly to the Factor-Inwentash Faculty of Social Work, or they can give it to you in a signed sealed envelope, and you in turn can mail it into the Factor-Inwentash Faculty of Social Work. What's required to apply? So this again is for our 2-year and the advanced standing program. So you do your online application and your fee. Once that's done, all of the icons will open up. We have a significant change from last year, so we do not require official transcripts at time of application. You only need to upload an electronic version of your transcripts from all colleges and universities attended, including CEGEP. The instructions will indicate it should be a transcript that has all of your information, including a transcript legend. If the transcript legend is not available, it's not that big of a deal. We can always reach out to you if we need additional information on the grading scale of that institution. You need 3 references, the MSW program application form, and on this particular form, we're asking you to identify the course that you've taken or plan to take that will meet the research requirement, a detailed resume, field practicum experience, which is for advanced standing applicants only, and the written statement. And I'll get into the specifics of each of these in the next couple of slides. So the transcripts. So as I mentioned, we do not require official transcripts at time of application. You are required to upload only the electronic copies of your transcripts. They could be your own student personal copy. And if you're offered admission, we will require an official paper copy of all transcripts to be submitted, and this will be a condition of admission. References. So you're all required to submit 3 references. So you will all need to submit 1 academic reference from a university course instructor. However, if you've been out of school for more than 3 years, you may substitute the academic reference with another work or volunteer related reference. Your second reference is work or volunteer related. The third reference for the 2-year applicants can be either of the above. It could be a second academic or second work or volunteer related reference. For our advanced standing applicants, the third reference should be from the practicum instructor if your BSW is in progress or was awarded within the past 2 years. However, if you're currently enrolled in a BSW program and perhaps the practicum is not happening this fall but may happen in the winter or spring and you're not able to get a reference from the instructor, you may substitute that reference with another work or volunteer related reference. And we encourage you, if you're not able to submit this reference, to include a brief cover letter with your resume to explain your choice of references. MSW program application form. So this form, once you complete it, you're able to upload it directly to the online application system. And a couple of questions I want to just highlight here. Again, you need to identify the course you've taken or plan to take, that will meet the research requirement. And on our website, we have a listing of approved research courses. So definitely check that out. That list is continually growing, and we update it about 4 to 5 times a year. There's also an optional question if you previously applied to the program. Describe how you have strengthened your application. So if you are a reapplicant, the committee will not know that you are a reapplicant. It's not information that is shared with them. So if you want them to know you previously applied, maybe you were on the wait list, or maybe you were refused, you don't need to tell them what the outcome was, but you can just describe how you've strengthened your application. Maybe you got additional experience, upgraded your courses, your GPA, the research course, etc. And our advanced standing applicants, you are required to provide a rationale for your field of study selection. Okay, the resume. There is no page limit to the resume. And your resume, you can certainly use the headings that you see here on screen if they apply to you. If they don't use them. If there are other headings that are more applicable, by all means, feel free to use them. What's really important here is that you need to include all of your work and volunteer experience, both related and unrelated, Canadian and international experience. You need to include the month and year the experience started, month and year it ended, and total number of hours for each work and volunteer experience. It's not required for education. I cannot stress this enough, and as you see on the slide, if you omit this information, it may lessen your chances of admission. The resume is your selling feature. Include all of your experiences. We get many questions about the resume. Should I include experience that's related to the service industry or retail? And the answer is yes. All experiences should be included on your resume. The written statement. The written statement questions are posted on our website. We've got the link here. And there are 5 questions. I would ask you to really review our questions and respect the word count. We know many applicants are applying to multiple programs, and we strongly encourage you to do so that you have lots of options, and hopefully when offers go out, you have multiple offers to decide on where you're going to go. So when you're submitting the questions and your responses, ensure you're addressing the questions that have been posed by our admissions committee. Okay, this form here is only for applicants applying to the advanced standing program, and it's the field practicum experience. Here you're asked to describe all of your BSW field practicum experience and include the information you see here on screen. Again, back to my example, if you're doing the BSW and the placement won't start until January or spring of 2021, you're not able to submit this information. You do need to upload a document onto the site, otherwise your file will be deemed incomplete. So even if you indicate, I'm going to be doing my practicum in January, and as you have details, you can email the details directly to the admissions email account, which will come up in the next few slides. Okay, so to recap, what is required to apply, once you've done your online application and application fee, all of the other documents you see on screen, you are able to upload them directly to the online system. Your referees, once they get the request from the system, they can submit the reference form directly to the site, and you are able to track receipt of the references. If your references are coming in offline, as we get them, we will scan them and upload them directly to the site. And it can take anywhere from, I guess, 3 days to maybe 2 weeks, depending on how many are coming in offline. Okay, shifting gears, we're going to talk about the MSW-ITR, which is our Indigenous Trauma and Resiliency field of study. Has an earlier deadline date. We encourage you to apply by October 16th. And that's so you allow your referees enough lead time to get their references in. The final date to apply is November 2nd, and then your supporting documentation is due on November the 16th. Okay, the admission requirements are very, very similar to the 2-year MSW program, so an appropriate bachelor's degree from a recognized university, the mid-B, pardon me, a mid-B average in your final year of full-time studies, specifically looking at senior level courses, 3 full credit courses in the social sciences, including the research course. Again, a mid-B is strongly recommended in the research course. Here, the major difference is that you need to have at least 3 years of work experience in the social services, Indigenous services sector field. The English language proficiency, if it is applicable. And the way it works is your file, once you've submitted all of your documentation, your file will be reviewed by the committee, and they will invite a number of applicants to participate in an in-person or Skype interview. Getting an interview does not constitute an offer of admission. After the interview, the committee will inform the successful applicants of the outcome. And we do want to stress that it is a 2-year full-time program for all applicants, including those who have a Bachelor's of Social Work degree. How to apply? The application process is exactly the same. So you go to the same link, you put in your personal and educational information, the names of your referees, and you submit payment. Before we go to the next slide, I do want to say that if applicants have a Bachelor's of Social Work degree and are interested in the MSW-ITR, you are permitted to apply to both programs. It does mean 2 separate application fees. And the same thing if you have a BA degree and you're planning to apply to the 2-year master's program, but you're also interested in the MSW-ITR, you are permitted to apply to both, but fees apply to both. Okay, what's required? So once you do your online application and application fee, all of the icons open up and you'll be able to upload your electronic transcripts, again, from all colleges and universities that you've attended, including CEGEP. You need 2 references, the MSW-ITR program application form, a resume, and the MSW-ITR statement, and I'll talk about each one in the next few slides. Okay, transcripts, again, you just need to upload electronic copies of all transcripts, and if you're offered admission, we will require official paper copy of all transcripts to be submitted, and this would be a condition of admission. References, 2 are required for the ITR, and they can be from any of the following that you see on screen: academic, worker volunteer, practicum instructor supervisor, traditional teacher, mentor, or professional colleague. Resume. So the resume, very specific instructions, so you want to ensure that you follow these instructions, include all of your education, including incomplete or in-progress degrees, employment and volunteer. You do need to include the duration, the month, years, and hours for each experience. They want you to emphasize your work in social work, psychology, addictions, etc., essentially following what's on screen. And again, there's no page limit to the resume. The written statement, there are 5 questions posted in the MSW-ITR booklet and on our website. They are different questions than the 2-year and advanced standing stream. So again, pay careful attention to the questions and please address the questions as they're posed by our MSW-ITR admissions committee. Again, the deadline dates, to recap, October 16th is the suggested early deadline date. The online application actually opened up September 21st, so feel free to apply at any time well in advance of the 16th of October if you wish. The final deadline to submit your ITR application is November 2nd, and then your supporting documentation is due on November the 16th. The 2-year and advanced standing, to recap, November 2nd is our suggested early deadline date. The final date to submit your application to apply for September 2021 is November 30th, and the supporting documentation is due on December the 10th. Over to you, Valerie.
Hello. So just wanted to also share, thank you, Angela, about our really great podcast. So maybe you're here because you're thinking about social work, but you're not sure whether social work is the right approach to get to your goals. So I encourage you to check out our podcast. It's called Profiles in Social Work, and it has interviews of social workers with our MSW degrees, talking about what they do out in the field. It's quite fascinating, the diversity of things that this degree can help you do. So I encourage you to go in there for some inspiration, and it's available on our website as well as on Facebook. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to contact us. This is my email address, valerie.grossman@utoronto.ca. You can send me an email about program question or Angela's about admission questions at admissions.fsw.toronto.ca. If you have any questions, please join our next Q&A. We're hosting online Q&A sessions After everyone watched this information session, you're welcome to join us for one. And you can check out this link posted below, all the Q&A sessions that are coming up. Some of them are dedicated to advanced standing, some are dedicated to international students, and some of them are overall ones. And you're welcome to join as many as you like. And these are half an hour to an hour sessions where we answer your questions live after you've watched this information session. Thank you so much for joining us and for taking the time to consider our program. And we wish you the best of luck in your journey to becoming a social worker and your professional career.